Hello, my name is Eric Farmer. I'm with the Tennessee Student Assistance Corporation. We're the ones that administer the lottery scholarship, the state grants, Tennessee Promise, and any other type of state financial aid that you want to use to go to college here in Tennessee. Today, I'm going to talk about the state programs and some of the federal programs and how to complete the FAFSA as well. It's important information that you'll need. I'm going to go over a lot of information, so I'm going to give you my contact information as well in this presentation and get it to the where the present. I'm going to actually show you the presentation. So you want to look at my, pretty face the whole time. Actually, my pretty face will be in the corner somewhere. I think it's in that corner over there. So let me pull up the presentation now. It's actually this one here. I'm not going over all the slides, so don't freak out. Here we go. So, of course, I'm talking about paying for college and how to get money for college. Like I said, I'm going over a lot of information, probably really quick. This is my contact information. Feel free to take pictures of the screen. That's my email address, my telephone number, and I'm also on social media at efarmertsac.sc. I'll move me right there. Actually, let me move it right here. There we go. Don't be afraid to call me or contact me. I don't mind. Text me, email is probably the best way since I do a lot of presentations. But also you can call and leave a message if you like. So this process, as you go through this process, you're going to notice one thing as you start searching for colleges, that every college that you see can be quite expensive. But then you start looking at your own personal finances and realize this is nothing but pennies comparatively. And so that might freak you out. So hopefully after all the session, you will not be as freaked out as my man Gumball here. So some terminology that you'll hear going through this process is one, cost of attendance or COA. It is what it is, how much it costs to attend a particular school. But just know that there's two different types of cost of attendance. There's the official cost that you see on the college websites, and there's your personal cost, the one that you actually pay. You want to pay more attention to with your personal cost because that's going to tell you how much financial aid you actually need to go to that particular school. The EFC is the expected family contribution. This is the number that's derived from the FAFSA. The FAFSA is going to ask questions that pertain to 5 areas: parent income, student income, parents' age, household size, and how many people in the household are going to college. Those 5 factors determine that EFC number. Just know the lower the EFC, the better chance of receiving need-based money. The EFC range can be anywhere from 0 to $99,999. So just know that the lower the EFC, the better chance of receiving need-based money. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. Let's say that again. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. What does FAFSA stand for? Okay, good. All right. Y'all probably didn't say it because this is a video and I'm not going to talk back to a TV screen, but that's okay. But the FAFSA, the one thing I want to make you aware of is that it is free. You don't have to pay. Okay. Make sure you go to FAFSA.gov. That is the free site. Any other site, you might be paying $80 to submit the free application. Now, if you decide to submit the free, if you decide to submit the free application for federal student aid on your own, without any help, without any assistance, you get through, you're like, man, that was too easy. I got to pay somebody. My name is Eric Farmer. I take checks, cash, credit cards. Okay. Also, I'm on a diet right now, so I normally say I take food like lasagna, pizza, things like that. Can't do that now. But we'll take fruit. Fruit is awesome. Okay, I take fruit, such as apple pie, banana pudding, and strawberry cheesecake. That'd be great, But anyway, actually, if you got questions dealing with your FAFSA or processing it or anything like that, contact me. I will help you out for free as well. The student and parent will need an FSA ID. The FSA ID is the username and password that will allow you to electronically sign the FAFSA, and it will let you sign into the FAFSA if you're the student. There's also one more process that the FSA ID will help you with, and that's the data retrieval tool, which will allow you to pull your tax information directly from the IRS into the FAFSA without having to key anything in. Once you complete the FAFSA, you'll get something called a student aid report. Student aid report is a summary of everything you put in your FAFSA, but also will tell you if you have any errors in your FAFSA and you want to get those corrected before you start school, or you won't be able to get any financial aid. When you hear the term financial aid, you want to think of grants, loans, and scholarships. All three are financial aid. So any money used to help pay for college is financial aid. Grants, of course, is free money based upon need, and that's where the EFC comes to play. Loans is money that you borrow that you got to pay back, but you want to use the loans as a last resort. And the reason why you want to do that is because when you complete the FAFSA, you will be offered a loan. However, you don't have to accept a loan. And if you have to accept a loan, only accept the money, the portion of money that you need. If you don't have to take the full amount for the loan, don't take the full amount. Now, what you do want to focus on are all the scholarships. Scholarships are based upon the student's merit, skill, and unique characteristics. So you have merit-based scholarships based upon your GPA and ACT score, skill scholarships if you're an athlete, musician, artist, actor, actress, have joined these club organizations, for leadership in those organizations, volunteer work, community service work, band, ROTC, things like that. Then you have unique characteristic scholarships based upon your characteristics. So if you are left-handed, there's a scholarship out there. If you're male that is 6'2" or taller, there's a scholarship. If you're female, 5'10" or taller, there's a scholarship. If you're male or female, 4'10" or shorter. There's scholarships based upon ailments like allergies, asthma, ADHD, cancer survivor, dependent on cancer survivor, liver disorder, lung disorders. There's all different scholarships out there. So what you might want to do is just make a list of your characteristics and go to your favorite search engine, type in whatever it is with scholarship behind it, and see what pops up. Now, I will say this. Not every characteristic has a scholarship, but you might find some other things that are interesting that you might want to apply for. So that will help you out as well. You also want to check out databases like FastWeb or scholarships.com to see what kind of scholarships they have in their databases. The next term is verification, which is an audit of your FAFSA. Financial aid office will ask for specific information dealing with the taxes that you use for the FAFSA. Don't be afraid. It's just going to be like, hey, show me your W-2, or could you send us this, that, and the other. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do. If you're able to do the data retrieval tool, use the data retrieval tool, that process will be a lot easier. So definitely highly recommend. If you can use the data retrieval tool, please do. And then you have the work study program, which is money set aside by the federal government for you, the student, to work on campus. Now, in the FAFSA, there's a question on there they'll ask if you're interested in the work study program. Go ahead and mark yes. And the reason being is that it's better to have the money and not need it than to need it and not have it. And the reason why I'm saying that is that because you're filling this FAFSA out almost a year before you actually enroll in school, you're not going to know what your situation is. You might think right now that you don't want to work, but a year from now, you might need to work. So go ahead and mark yes on that. And that way, if you have a possibility of receiving it, you will get it, and then you can later on decline it if you don't need it. Okay. Now it is a need-based program, the work study is, so that EFC is going to come into play. But the cool thing with the work study is that you might not initially get it, but as people decline it, it goes to the next person in line. So if you have a higher EFC and maybe not getting Pell Grant money, but you potentially could get the work study program depending on how many people decline the work study program who has a lower EFC. Now, the cost of attendance to go to school is actually comprised of 6 factors: tuition, room and board and fees, books and supplies, travel expenses, and personal expenses. A lot of times we stop here, but you want to make sure that you look at everything to determine your cost of attendance, because that includes everything of your cost of attendance, no matter what school you decide to go to. Even schools that don't have room and board, you still got to consider it, because if you decide to go to, let's say, Motlow and decide to live away from home, you still have to come up with rent and your meals while you're away. So that is no longer a direct cost, it becomes an indirect cost. Direct costs are costs you pay directly to the institution. Indirect costs is what you incur because you go to said institution. Now, the way you figure out your personal costs, look at those 6 factors, and you go, hey, what is my tuition at this school? What kind of dorm room that I want to stay in? What kind of meal plan or your board that I want to have? There's mandatory fees that everybody pays. Then there might be fees based upon my major. there's my estimated book cost is this because these are my classes. My travel expenses are this because of my car or the lack of a car or vehicle, and how I'm going to get home by train or plane or whatever. And you want to look at your travel expenses for a 10-month period. That gives you pretty much an academic year. The same with your personal expenses. How much you spend on yourself in a month times 10, and that gives you more or less your personal cost. But once you do that, you have an idea of how much financial aid money that you'll need to go to college. And actually, if you have to pay out of pocket, about how much you have to pay. Now, when you look at, once you figure out your cost of attendance, now you have to come up with sources and how to pay this. Well, they have the miscellaneous. Those were those private scholarships, with outside scholarships, even scholarships that come to the guidance office. You want to check those out. And a lot of times the scholarships that come to the guidance office that are local come in at the end of the calendar year, at the beginning of the next calendar year. So in December, January, you want to start definitely looking at your guidance office for the local scholarships. But there's some national scholarships that are available now that you want to check out. Look at the institutions themselves. Each institution has their own financial aid office, therefore they have their own scholarships or money that you can get. So you want to make sure that you fill out their applications there as well. The federal government has money for you, such as the Pell Grant, the SEOG, the work study program, and of course the loan program. So that's money as well that you can use. And then also, of course, you have the state. The state has the Hope Scholarship, Tennessee Promise, the state grant, the Water Navy Technical Skills Grant, and so forth. And that money you can use. I just let you know, if you stay inside the state of Tennessee, you can use all four sources if you're awarded from all four. Now, if you decide to go out of state, you lose the state stuff from Tennessee, or you won't be able to use it. Now, there's a possibility that if you come back, you might be able to get it again, but initially, as you go out, you will not be able to receive it. Once again, this is the FAFSA. What does FAFSA stand for? As long as you said free, that's good to go. It's available October 1st. Make sure you go to FAFSA.gov. That's the free site. Once again, students and at least one parent in the household will need to create an FSA ID. You go to fsaid.ed.gov to create your FSA ID. And then once you have your FSA ID and October rolls around, students, this is how you log into your FAFSA and start the process. But also remember that you can use the data retrieval tool and pull your tax information directly from the IRS into the FAFSA using your FSA ID. Some information that you'll need to fill out your FAFSA: Social Security numbers from both parents and students, driver's license, 2017 tax information, records of your untaxed income, and then information on your checking and savings account balances, investments, and business accounts as well. The last two you just want to have just in case. Sometimes it won't necessarily ask for that, but just have it just in case. When you fill out your FSA ID, here's some information that's going to be used. Just an example here. You want to record your username and password because a lot of times we forget. And if you notice on here, the emails have to be different. The usernames have to be different for the student and parent, but your password can be the same. Your mobile number has to be different. And technically, your security questions and answers can be the same as long as you can remember what they are for both sets of parents, or both sets of the student and the parent. And so just make sure if you decide to make questions and answers and they're the same, just know what those answers are. So you definitely want to write them down. So when you fill out the FAFSA, this is what you're applying for. Federal Pell Grant, the SEOG, and the work study program. If you notice, Pell Grant's EFC is 5486. That's the maximum amount. The maximum EFC number that you can have to get the Pell Grant. Remember, the range of the EFC is actually from 0 to 99,999. You have to have a really low EFC. SEOG has exceptional financial need, so therefore that means the lower EFC, the better chance of receiving the need-based money. And the work study program, which is paid directly to the student, you also need to have a low EFC initially to receive it, but then as they decline it, it goes to the next person in line. You also apply for the federal loan program. Just remember that you have subsidized and unsubsidized. Subsidized means that the federal government pays your interest while you're in school. Unsubsidized means that the student is responsible for the interest while they're in school. It's on a fixed 5.05% rate. But just know those two are the student loans. Parents, you're not responsible. But then there's also the Parent Plus. The Parent Plus has a fixed rate of 7.6%. but also it requires an additional application, which is based upon the parent's credit score. Now, once you decide to receive this, the parents, now you are locked into that loan. Now, this loan, Parent Plus, is just in case you don't have enough loan money to cover your other costs, your total cost of attendance. My personal opinion, if you have to think about the Parent Plus loan, you might want to think for a less expensive school. Now, also the FAFSA is the application for the Hope Scholarship. And because of Tennessee Promise, there's now two different types. It's the 2-year Hope Scholarship and a 4-year. The 2-year Hope Scholarship, the requirements are the same, 3.0 GPA or 21 ACT score, but it's $1,500 per semester at the community college. We still have the 2 supplements, the General Assembly Merit Scholarship or GAMS and the Aspire Award. GAMS, you got to have a 29 ACT score and a 3.75 GPA. That's an automatic $500 on top of your Hope. And then with the Aspire Award, your adjusted gross income has to be $36,000 or less. That's an additional $250 on top of your Hope. Now, unfortunately, if you qualify for both the Aspire and the GAMS, you only get one, and in this case, you'll get the GAMS. Now, the 4-year institution, the requirements are the same, but the amounts change. For the Hope Scholarship, if you qualify for that, you'll get $1,750 per semester at a $1,750 per semester if you're classified as a freshman or sophomore. $2,250 per semester when you're classified as a junior or senior. Okay, just remember how I'm going to say this. Classification, not how many years you're at the school, but how you're classified at the school. So therefore, student coming in with dual credit hours or AP hours, or maybe they've taken the club test, which also gives you college credit, you might come in at a higher level than someone who doesn't have any college credit whatsoever. Actually, you will come in at a higher level. That means that you will hit that 2250 mark quicker than somebody who doesn't have any credit hours whatsoever. So the dual enrollment program that you're taking it is really important. GAMS is still $500 per semester, same requirement. Aspire goes up by $500 to $750. And once again, if you qualify for both, you only get one. In this case, you get the Aspire. You have the Water Navy Technical Skills Grant, which is also the application for the FAFSA. It's an automatic $2,000 for anyone to go to a TCAT. You also have the Tennessee Student Assistance Award based upon your EFC. It can be any higher than $2,100, but it's $1,000 to $4,000 depending on the type of school that you go to. And then you have the NEB Awarded Scholars Program for students who have a 3.5 GPA and a 29 ACT score, but also have participated in clubs and organizations, showed leadership in those organizations, volunteer work, and other extracurricular activities. It goes to the top 50 students in the state of Tennessee. You have a potential of getting $6,000 per year. Then, of course, you have the Tennessee Promise. Tennessee Promise is just a checklist. You go to tnpromise.gov by November 1st to apply. You have to fill out the FAFSA by February 1st of 2019, attend a mandatory meeting at your high school, and complete 8 hours of community service. You do this, you're Tennessee Promise eligible. Now, the way Tennessee Promise works, it's a last dollar scholarship, and it's last dollar after the Hope, Pell, and TSAA. So these 3 programs here will kick into your tuition first. After that, if there's any money left over in tuition and mandatory fees, Promise covers. For example, first student is getting $8,000 out of those 3 programs. Therefore, Promise doesn't have to kick anything, but that student pays nothing for tuition. Student B is getting the Hope Scholarship, so that means there's going to be $1,300 left. Promise covers the $1,300. That student pays nothing for tuition. Student C is getting nothing out of those 3 programs. Therefore, Promise picks up the full tuition amount of $4,300, and that student pays nothing for tuition. So just to let you know, if you decided to go to a community college or a Tennessee College for Applied Technology and you go through the Tennessee Promise process, no matter what your situation is, you will not have to pay for tuition. Now, you can use Promise at some 4-year institutions, but those 4-year institutions have to have an associate's degree. Also, in order for you to use Promise at those institutions, you have to enroll in that associate's degree program. However, it doesn't cover as much. For example, here, the eligible tuition that you can use at a 4-year institution would be the amount eligible tuition at a 4-year at a community college. In other words, the $4,300 in this example is the maximum amount that a student can use at Tennessee Promise at a 4-year institution. It's still last dollar, so we'll still take in consideration those 3 programs, but it's the money out of those 3 programs plus the difference in Tennessee Promise, or plus the difference in Tennessee Promise has to max out at like that 43 amount. So in this example, for the 4-year public, the student will still have to pay $3,700 out of tuition. At the 4-year Provident, in this example, you still have $15,000. So it doesn't cover the full tuition, only hits part of it. Student's still responsible for part of the tuition as well. Now, if you decide to go this route, definitely look at the Tennessee Transfer Pathways. It's a way to look at your curriculum and look at your major to see if y'all go to community college, how this is going to transfer to a 4-year institution, and it should transfer seamlessly. Highly recommend you going to tntransferpathways.org and checking out the different programs across the state and at your local community college as well. All right. So for adults, if you're thinking about going to college too, you also have Tennessee Reconnect, which is the adult version of the Tennessee Promise. The checklist for Reconnect is go to tnreconnect.gov, apply to a community college or TCAT or eligible TN Reconnect institution, submit your FAFSA, and enroll into a degree program at least part-time, under 6 hours. You don't have any community service work to do, adults. This is the only steps you have to take. And actually, once you fill out your Reconnect application, you'll get into a Reconnect community, and they'll start contacting you. The rep at the community college or TCAT will start calling you as well, or contacting you to see if you have any questions, kind of help you through that process. This is us with Outreach Division. I'm in Region 5. Don't let 5 think that's a ranking. I'm not the 5th best outreach specialist. I'm actually the self-proclaimed #1, so you got the best. And so at any point you have questions or anything, feel free to give me a call or text me. We'll thoroughly appreciate it, and it'd be my pleasure to help you in this process. I hope all goes well. And if you have any questions again, feel free to give me a call or text me. And I want to say thank you.